owns your body.
Well, of course he does.
Now, there are two words in the kingdom you never want to use. The first word is independence.
That's so true.
Because independence
It's
is a
rebellion,
declaration of your refusing to submit to the king.
It's rebellion.
And the second word is ownership.
We don't own a thing, you're right.
Jesus one time wanted a donkey. He said to Peter, go to the next town. You're going to meet a man with a donkey and a colt. Peter doesn't know this guy. No one knows the guy. He says, when you meet him, tell him, give you the donkey and the colt. Now watch Jesus now. Remember, he is owner by creative right. He created everything, so he owns it. He says, if the man asks you, who sends for my donkey and my coat? He says, you tell him the Lord wants it.
Are you watching my floor director here? She's glued to you, brother. I mean, usually she's paying attention to what they tell her to do, but she's glued to
In other words, the man had a donkey and a coat,
my Lord.
and he thought they were his, all these.
Are you cameramen listening to any of this? I know the people are, but are you guys listening to any of this? Please see all the cameramen, because most times when we do programs, my cameraman, floor director, they're paying attention.
Because
to all the
they
things.
are just what Jesus said. Jesus says, all men are
Exactly.
seeking for the kingdom.
Wow.
So the man thought the donkey was his all those years. He cleaned him. He scrubbed him down. He even made sure donkey produced a coat. But all the while, he was simply a steward. There are people watching the program right now who say they got $2 million in the bank. My suggestion to them is, if you own it, that's all you got. But if you realize that you're just a steward, and that's the property of the king.
Is that why we have to tithe?
That's the point. Tithing is a reminder to the king that you acknowledge that you don't own the rest of it.
Whoa.
God doesn't need your money, but when you give him something, you're telling him, just a reminder that I know I don't own none of this, so let me prove it. Let me give you your stuff back. That's why in this book, in the last chapter is on kingdom giving. If the people watching the program, if they understood kingdom, this ministry would be reaching 10 billion people. Because there'll be no more gimmicks, no more schemes, no more begging. Why? Because we realize that all of us are stewards. There was a rich man that came to Jesus. In this book I talk about it. Very important man. He said, good Lord. Christ says, no, you don't know what good is. He said, but go ahead. What's your request? He said, how can I enter the kingdom of God? How can I become a citizen? Jesus said, no problem. Keep the laws of the kingdom. He says, I always keep the laws. From a child, I kept the laws. Christ says, really? So that means you're a citizen of my kingdom then. He said, let me test you. Now watch the test. He says, take everything that you have and give it to the poor. In other words, if I'm your king, you don't own that. So if I tell you give it to that guy over there, you got to give it because it ain't yours. It says the young man walked away sadly. Response of Jesus. He said, Peter, how hard it is for a rich man who thinks he owns everything to enter kingdom living.
I'm buzzing. Please forgive me. You got to slow down. This is incredible. The Lord,
he owns
everything. And that's why he said what he said to Peter.
Absolutely. Listen, how is somebody...
What he was saying is, this man is not listening to me. If he is in the kingdom, why isn't he listening to the king?
I don't own what he says is mine. He says it's harder for a rich man to go through harder for a camel to go through an eye than a rich man to go through heaven.
So it's not riches and money. It's submission to the king.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why ministries are struggling financially. Because the people who support them are religious people. And to get money from religious people, you got to make them emotional. In a kingdom, you don't own anything. That's why we can talk about in this program, and hopefully talk about the governor. See, the governor lives in the colony.
This is the reason why people, please hear me, how can I say it? Gimmickry. That's why they have to use gimmickry to get people to give money.
You got it.
Because it's religious. It's all
Let me
religious.
ask you a question.
Please.
Does your government use gimmicks to get taxes?
No.
It's a law.
It's the law.
Tithing is a law.
It's the law.
Tithing is kingdom taxes. Offering is kingdom investments.
Wait. I don't know if I can handle any more of this, brother.
When you pay taxes, the country doesn't grow. You simply maintain it. You maintain roads, lights, water, etc. If you want a country to grow, you need investments. That's why when you pay tithes, it doesn't make you grow. It keeps the house going, the Bible says.
And what did you say about offerings?
Offering is the investment. The only thing that you will gain from
Have you
is
ever
when you
heard
invest
that?
in the kingdom.
I've never heard this stuff. I've been preaching 33 years or so. I've never heard this.
Because it's kingdom concept.
Why don't you come back and talk about this? Come teach God's people more about this. You know what I love to do? I would love to have him back and have you send in your questions prior.
I would love it.
And then let the people ask you the questions.
I would love it.
I'll ask them on their behalf. Say that again. This is awesome.
Tithing is kingdom taxes because it's the kingdom's property. Offering is the king giving you resources to invest in his own economy so that he can multiply it back to you. You never get blessed from tithing. When you pay taxes in a country...
This is important because a couple back in our church in Florida years ago came back all complaining about how they're tithing always and they don't get blessed.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Let me quote from the Constitution of the kingdom.
You said you don't get blessed.
Malachi chapter 4.
All right.
It says, bring my tithe, my tax into the government treasury.
I like that better.
Storehouse.
I like that better.
That there may be substance in my house.
Right.
To maintain the house, he says. Not to build another house. If you're going to build another house, that means extend the ministry of God, you need the offerings. See, Jesus never said, tithe and it shall be given back to you. Because tithing is for maintenance of the country. Offering, he said, whatever you give is given back to you multiplied. So giving and tithing are different in a kingdom.
When we tithe, we're saying
we open
the 90%.
The window. We open the window. We have access.
And we're saying that the 90% left is yours.
Listen how it works.
Okay, please.
Taxes opens the relationship with the government because you are obeying the government law. Offering is what you invest and determines what comes through the window. See, the word window simply means access. He says, pay your tithes, your taxes into the kingdom of God, and I'll open the window. There'll be no problem between our relationship between the citizen and the government. If you don't pay your taxes in America, what happens? The government window shuts down, you become a criminal. The same thing in God's country. You don't pay taxes, the window shuts down. When you pay your taxes, the window opens up. There's no difficulty between you and the government. Then he says, and your offerings. When you give, it's more blessed to give, not more blessed to tithe. It's more blessed to give than to receive. Because when you give, you are investing. If someone sent $100,000 right now above their tithes to help you win souls, God multiplies that 100,000. See?
So he doesn't multiply the tithe.
No, because the tithe is taxes. So in a kingdom, that's why Jesus didn't even teach on tithes. Because tithing is an obvious reality in a kingdom. You have to pay taxes. So he said, look, let's not talk about tithing. Let's talk about giving. You guys don't know how to invest. It talks about concepts you need to learn. The second book is Kingdom Principles. We talk about them now, how the kingdom works. And then the third book, which is the newest book we want to talk about later, is this one called The Most Important Person on Earth. And that's the Colony Governor. These three will help you understand the Bible just like that.
Paying our taxes, the offering, our investments. Where did you get that from? You're amazing.
The Bible. It's good to be back.
Yes,
it's good to be back.
I love having you. You know,
I'd say I got it from the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
Kingdom concepts, I think, have been lost, especially in the Western world, because there are no kingdoms in the Western world.
Absolutely wrong.
And the Bible is about a kingdom. And so where the concepts don't exist in your culture, then the application of a historical document is always distorted. And so it's very dangerous to pick the Bible up as a person who was cultured in a democracy and attempt to read it and to properly, in context and historical concepts, interpret this book.
Now listen, tomorrow on the program, I want you to deal with the tithe and the offering, paying taxes into the kingdom and investing in the kingdom. Today I want to talk about the concepts of the kingdom. Now, you've got a few of them in one of your books. Which one?